Heartwarming journey, Millionaire discovers incredible secret as cleaning lady hides food daily. Mark Thompson stood in the grand lobby of his stylish, sun-soaked Orlando home, surrounded by glimmering chandeliers and soft jazz playing in the background. With a chiseled jaw and tailored suit, he acknowledged the smiles and compliments of the guests at his latest high society event. Yet, beneath the surface, an emptiness gnawed at him, whispering that there was something beyond this opulence, a connection he lacked. Amid all the parties and expensive cars, Mark was proud of his blue-collar roots. Each dollar he earned told a story of late nights at the office and relentless networking. But somehow, those long hours had become both a source of pride and an anchor pulling him down. What was the worth of success if it left you feeling hollow? Anna, on the other hand, lived a life far removed from Mark's grand existence. At 30, she was a single mother of two, scrubbing floors and cleaning windows for a living, squeezing time for side gigs. Juggling her responsibilities with grace, she managed to whip up packed lunches for her children daily. But instead of indulging in leftovers, Anna would discreetly donate to the local food bank, feeding those who were facing hardships like her own family once had. Her eyes sparkled with compassion, yet they held shadows of worry and fatigue. One afternoon, Mark noticed Anna slipping away early from work. Something inside him stirred a mix of curiosity and concern. He decided to follow her, shadows trailing behind. As he approached the food bank, his heart raced. He watched, breath caught in his throat, as she poured her heart into a hefty bag of lunches, tucking it into the donation box. A wave of emotion washed over him, a tide that threatened to drown him in a reality he had dismissed. Wasn't his life filled with moments like these? Mark began to question his own understanding of success, struck by a silent truth in Anna's kindness that far surpassed any accolade he had earned. Here she was fighting for survival, yet willing to share what little she had. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The moment rippled, burning within him. In a fit of inspiration, he decided to throw a lavish charity ball aimed at raising funds for the food bank. But when he presented his idea to Anna, disbelief overtook any signs of gratitude. She roared with emotion, frustrated that his grand gestures overshadowed her quiet integrity. A clash erupted, shaking him to his core. All Mark ever wanted was to help, but her disdain held a mirror to his own life, a showcase of excess and hollowness. They stood there, two worlds colliding like waves on a rocky shore. Their confrontation forced them both to reevaluate not just their lives but the very essence of community. But as they stood, poised for a breakthrough, a crisis emerged at the food bank. Suddenly, Anna's efforts hung by a thread, and Mark's understanding of service was about to be put to the ultimate test. Would he step up, ready to defend the true heroes of his community, or slip back into the comfort of his privileged lifestyle? The air thickened, and hope shimmered on the cusp of despair. The tension crackled like static in the air. Mark could feel his heart pounding, the urgency of the moment weighing heavily on him. Anna's eyes flashed with defiance, but beneath that fierceness lay vulnerability. For someone who seemed so unyielding, her resolve was fragile, like glass shimmering in sunlight. "What do you know about real struggle, Mark?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The question hung between them, heavy with meaning. It pierced through the mask of his wealth and success, revealing his reluctant recognition of privilege. She was right. He stood there, grand and imposing, while she carried the burdens of life on her shoulders every day. "More than you think," he replied, the memories flooding back. Late nights at the office, the sacrifices he made to climb the corporate ladder, the moments of loneliness that accompanied his triumphs. He had immersed himself in work, convinced that financial success would fill the void. But now, staring at Anna, he felt that emptiness grow larger. Suddenly, the rumble of voices outside interrupted their confrontation. A veiled anxiety flooded Anna's features as she turned toward the door. "I have to go," she said, urgency lacing her tone. "The food bank needs me." Mark hesitated, fighting against the pull to retreat into his comfortable bubble. But something shifted within him. He wasn't just a spectator anymore, he was part of this world. "Wait," he said, catching her wrist before she could leave. "I want to help." Anna looked at him, skepticism written across her face. "Help how? By throwing a party? That won't make a difference here." The anger in her voice echoed his own frustrations with himself, holding a mirror to all the times he had sought shortcuts instead of laying bricks. "I need to understand," he insisted, desperation creeping in. "If you let me walk alongside you, maybe I can support the way you do on the ground, in the trenches." After a long moment, Anna nodded slowly. It was a cautious acceptance, but a step forward nonetheless. They left the food bank together, anxious laughter from the community fading to a hush as they stepped outside. One foot in front of the other, they walked side by side toward the heart of a neighborhood that had always felt distant to him. Mark quickly learned that support came in many forms. From packing boxes at the food bank to organizing community meetings, every task was a revelation. The people he met lived lives full of struggles and moments of triumph, showing him glimpses of resilience he had never seen before. As Anna watched him dive in, she felt a flicker of hope. Days blurred into weeks. Each interaction chipped away at Mark's carefully constructed walls, revealing an authenticity that resonated deep within him. The emptiness began to fill with an understanding he had long overlooked. He was realizing what it meant to truly connect with others, to be a part of the change instead of merely observing from afar. But just as things began to shift, an unexpected challenge arose. A crucial donor intended to withdraw their support from the food bank, threatening everything they had built. Mark could feel the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, the chance to choose between reverting to his old life or fighting for something real. As the future of the food bank hung in the balance, would Mark summon the courage to act? In that moment, he stood on the precipice of transformation, teetering between who he used to be and who he could become. The stakes had never been higher. What would he choose? Mark stared blankly at the emails on his laptop screen. The notification from the donor echoed in his head like a drumbeat withdrawn support. He breathed in deeply. Outside, the chatter of families enjoying the evening washed over him like a distant tide, reminding him of the warmth he had felt from this community. It wasn't just about food or the bank itself, it was about hope, connection, and the relationships blossoming around him. He had to act. "Hey, Anna." He called out, his voice barely cutting through the noise of a bustling kitchen behind him. She was busy arranging food packs on the shelves, her focus unmistakably intent. She turned, wiping her hands on her apron, and stepped closer, her brow furrowed. "What's up?" "The donor, they're pulling out," he said, urgency lacing his tone. "We can't let this happen. We have to do something." Anna's expression hardened, but he noticed a flicker of encouragement in her eyes. "Like what?" "We can't just wish for the money to come back. This isn't a fairy tale." "I know that. But there's got to be a way to rally people, to show them what this place means," Mark replied, his heart racing. "We can create an event, a community gathering. We can show our support, bring in new people, reinvigorate interest." Anna crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing at his suggestion. "And what? Host a gala? Get rich friends to sip wine and drop checks? That's not what this is about, Mark." Mark could sense the frustration simmering just beneath the surface. "No, I mean something real. Let us invite everyone, bring in local artists, have performances, create a space where people can share their stories. Show the community in a real way what this food bank represents." Silence stretched between them. It was a moment teetering on the edge of possibility. He could see the gears in Anna's mind turning, her inner struggle battling with hope. "Fine," she finally said, her voice steady. "But if we're doing this, it has to be authentic. No frills, no pretenses." "Deal," Mark said, a wave of determination swelling inside him. As they began to throw ideas around, Mark felt that familiar burden lift ever so slightly. It was terrifying and exhilarating, stepping further into the unknown. Together, they mapped out plans, targeted messages and potential local partners who might help. In the whirlwind of brainstorming and laughing at each other's wild suggestions, he felt moments of connection unfold, stitches weaving him deeper into this community. Days passed, each filled with energy as they worked tirelessly. Flyers danced in the wind as they plastered them across the neighborhood. Phone calls were made, friends enlisted, and heartwarming stories poured in from locals who were eager to join in. But with each step, Mark's anxiety tinged the atmosphere. What if it all fell flat? And then came the night before the event, filled with a cacophony of uncertain echoing thoughts. They got together for a final run-through in the makeshift community center, where excitement clashed with tension. As Anna practiced her speech, Mark watched her, both nervous and inspired. Her passion was infectious, it lit a fire in him. Then, as the echoes of murmurs filled the room, they heard the rumble of thunder from outside. Rain began to tap softly against the roof, a reminder of unpredictability. Mark glanced at Anna, their eyes locking in a moment of shared resolve. But tomorrow was another challenge entirely. Would they draw a crowd? And would it actually make a difference in the end? Tomorrow would tell. The morning arrived with a sky heavy with clouds, a blanket of gray that felt both ominous and charged with potential. Mark woke up early, the weight of the upcoming event thrumming in his chest. It was the kind of day that begged for coffee and motivation, so he quickly brewed a pot and stared out at the drizzling rain, watching as it danced against the pavement. As he took that first sip, he felt a mix of excitement and dread settle in. This gathering could be the lifeline they needed. He just had to trust the community would show up. As he dressed, he went over the plan in his head. Local artists were set to perform, heartfelt speeches would be shared, and he and Anna had arranged for a showcase of the food bank stories. He wanted everyone to see the faces behind the service, the heart and soul of the place. At the community center, Anna was already there, setting up decorations, her expression a blend of focus and nerves. "Hey!" she called, glancing up from where she was arranging colorful banners. "Just about done here. Can you believe it's finally happening?" "Just about," Mark replied, a half-smile creeping onto his face. "We need to make sure everything is in place for when the doors open." As they worked side by side preparing for the crowd, a contagious energy filled the air. Each task they completed made Mark feel lighter, hopeful. Anna turned the music up, and they began to dance a little while unpacking tables and chairs, laughter spilling out, cutting through the tension. But as they set up, the rain continued to fall, heavier now, drumming a steady beat against the roof. Mark pushed it from his mind. People would come rain or shine. This was about something bigger than weather. Not long after the clock struck noon, there was a faint but steady stream of people trickling in, umbrellas shaking droplets off before being set aside. Mark's heart raced. He caught sight of a few familiar faces. Neighbors, friends, and even some folks he had never seen before. A couple of local musicians arrived, guitars in hand, ready to share their art for a good cause. Anna's voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back. "Look at this!" she exclaimed, her excitement palpable. "They're actually showing up." Mark's eyes roved over the crowd, a warm wave of gratitude washing over him. Faces bright with anticipation met him as people gathered in the center, the energy blooming like the first spring flower pushing up through the thawed earth, bright and hopeful. Just as Anna took the stage, ready to present their plan, the back door creaked open, and in walked an older woman, weather-worn and familiar. Mark's heart sank as he recognized Mrs. Morales, a beloved member of their community who had always lent a helping hand. But it was the look on her face that truly caught him, the uncertainty mingled with determination. "Is this where we're gathering?" she asked, her voice strong despite the soft tremor of age. "I heard about what you're doing. I want to help." Mark felt a swell of emotion rise in his throat. All around him, the chatter and laughter amplified as more people filed in, and he had an overwhelming realization: it was not just about the food bank, it was about them, the community. Anna took a moment to breathe, looking out at the crowd, her gaze intensifying. "We're not just here for a donation. We're here to show that together, we can build something much greater." The room erupted in applause as the first notes of music filled the air, echoing the sentiment. And in that moment, Mark understood this was only the beginning. But the thunder outside rumbled again, a warning bell echoing on the heels of their victory. Could they weather the storm ahead? And what other secrets might lie in wait as they ventured deeper into this journey together? The music floated gently through the community center, wrapping around everyone like a warm embrace. Mark watched as Anna found her rhythm on stage. Her voice cut through the noise with clarity, filled with a hope that echoed in every corner of the room. The energy felt electric, yet there was something heavier underfoot, like the anticipation of a summer storm. Mark's heart swelled as he spotted Mrs. Morales talking to a small group of children. Her gentle laughter rang out, reminding him of the days long gone when community gatherings were frequent, and everyone felt like family. Connection was palpable here, it was unmistakable. As Anna finished her speech, an older gentleman stood up. "I used to come to the food bank every month with my wife," he said, his voice quivering slightly. "She always believed in the power of giving back." He took a deep breath. "And I want to share her spirit with you all. I brought some things." He reached into his bag, pulling out tins of food and a handful of handmade knitted scarves. The crowd fell silent. Mark watched as people began to step forward, one by one, offering shares of their own. It was beautiful. A collective heartbeat synchronized in time with one another. He felt a tear slip down his cheek, but it wasn't he out of sadness, no, it was pride and gratitude that filled him. Each item brought more stories to light, more memories shared. Suddenly, a crash echoed from the back of the room. Everyone turned, startled. A young boy had knocked over a stack of chairs, and shame flooded his face. Mark hurried over, crouching down to eye level. "Hey buddy, it's okay. Accidents happen to the best of us." He offered a reassuring smile. The boy's shoulders relaxed just a bit. As Mark turned back to the crowd, he noticed a woman standing, barely noticeable at first. With a deep breath, she stepped forward. It was Claire, one of the community's most reserved members, known for her quiet presence. "I haven't been to the food bank in years," she began, voice shaking slightly. "But I remember how kind everyone was. I watched you all grow. Today, I want to help." Whispers echoed around the room, the tide of excitement swelling once more. Mark could see Claire's hands trembling, her hesitation a reflection of the fear that gripped her tightly. But she pushed through, her courage inspiring. The last notes of music faded as Anna jumped back in. "Let us not stop here. This is just the start. This community stands together, doesn't it? Together." They echoed back, a force of unity flowing through their voices. Mark took a moment, gazing around the room. Rain continued to pour outside, painting the windows with streaks of silvery drops. It felt like a cleansing, a renewal of spirit. Just as Mark was lost in the unfolding warmth, a chilling thought crept in: they were drawing together now, but what if the challenges were greater than they'd be prepared for? An emergency announcement blared over the intercom, cutting through the camaraderie. "Attention everyone, we have severe weather warnings for the area, please take precautions." Murmurs of concern rippled across the crowd. Mark swallowed hard, the knot in his stomach tightening. "We can't let fear hold us back," he thought, peering at Anna. Her eyes, usually so radiant, flashed with uncertainty. They had to find a way to come through this storm together. But what if it wasn't just the weather they had to worry about? What other challenges awaited them in the days ahead? Would they be able to hold on to the connection they were so desperately longing for? The murmurs of anxiety in the room rose, cutting through the warmth that had just enveloped them. The emergency announcement hung heavy in the air. People exchanged worried glances, uncertainty clouding their faces like the storm raging outside. Mark felt the pulsating energies of hope that had filled the room start to wane. It was a stark reminder that while they had come together in joy, fear could unravel those bonds in an instant. Anna stepped forward again, sensing the shift. "Everyone, let us stay calm," she said, her voice steady despite the circumstances. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for confidence, for reassurance. "We prepared for this. We are a community, let us act like one." An elderly woman raised her hand, fidgeting with the edges of her shawl. "But what if we lose power? What if the roads flood? What if—" "Listen," Mark intervened, feeling the urgency bubbling in his chest. "We can prepare together. Let us create a plan. How many of you have supplies at home? Flashlights, non-perishables?" He could see heads nodding amid a flurry of whispered ideas. Hope flickered again, like the light on a candle ready to be reignited. People began sharing what they had. A collection point was formed in the corner for those who could gather essentials. "I have blankets," shouted someone from the back. "I can bring candles," chimed in another. As they organized, Mark could feel the momentum shift. He glanced at Anna, who was now rallying everyone, urging them to act quickly and decisively. Just then, Claire returned to Mark's side, determination etched on her face. "I want to help in any way I can," she said. "I can check on the elderly neighbors who might need support." "Great idea, Claire," Mark replied, that sense of pride welling up once more. "Let us pair people up to check on everyone in the area." As they sprang into action, an unusual calm settled over the room. It was a stark contrast to the storm outside. They had harnessed fear into something constructive, reinforcing their resolve. The spirit of compassion filled the center again, stronger than before. "Let us keep that hope alive," Anna called out, her eyes sparkling as she led the way through the planning. "And remember, we're not just helping ourselves, we're helping each other. That's the essence of community." Mark watched, captivated, as laughter mingled with purposeful chatter. The fear was still there, lurking, but they were finding strength together. It made him realize the power of connection. They weren't just surviving, they were thriving in the face of adversity. But just as the atmosphere brightened, another internment echoed over the intercom. "Attention, please. We regret to inform you that the storm has intensified. All individuals will need to seek shelter immediately." A collective gasp rose as Mark's heart sank. The warning wasn't just about power outages anymore, it was a call to action. What if they didn't find shelter in time? Would their resolve hold when faced with something beyond their control? Mark felt the unease slip back into the room, thick as the silence that hung over them. Anxiety crept in again, but in that moment, he glanced at Anna, her face illuminated, determined, fiercely hopeful. They had to believe in each other. Even as the storm raged outside, there had to be a way through this together. What would happen next? Would they be prepared for whatever the storm brought? And could they truly unify under such monumental pressure? Anna's voice broke the silence that enveloped them, breathing a semblance of calm into the growing panic. "All right, we need to move quickly. Let us gather our supplies and figure out how we can all fit under one roof while the worst passes." People sprang into action, their initial fear transforming into a sense of purpose. Mark felt a mix of admiration and determination as he watched everyone prioritize collective safety. They were ready to contribute, to share what little they had. Claire began to approach various groups, guiding people toward the designated shelter area in the back of the community center. As she moved, Mark followed her, helping to gather items that could keep everyone warm and fed. The delicate sound of breaking glass struck through the chatter, resulting in a hush. A young boy stood frozen, a flicker of fear shooting across his tiny face. "I didn't mean to," he squeaked, the gravity of the situation finally hitting him. Mark knelt down, catching the boy's eye. "It's okay, buddy. Accidents happen. Let us focus on what we can do right now, alright? Can you help me grab those blankets?" The boy nodded, the fear slowly ebbing away as Mark guided him back into the motion of community bonding. Haley, a local teacher, was already organizing games for the children to keep their spirits high. "You all love stories, right?" she announced, her smile infectious. "How about a story circle? It'll take our minds off this storm." The joy that followed was palpable, echoes of laughter dissipating the dread. As people settled into their roles, the atmosphere shifted once more. Mark found himself at a small table, putting together rolled-up sandwiches the local deli had donated moments earlier. A middle-aged man named Tom approached, offering a bag of apples. "Can you believe it? Just dropped them off as I was heading in. Seems like a good day to share," he chuckled, the twinkle in his eye encouraging others to see hope where they might have seen despair. Mark glanced around, realizing that every act of kindness, no matter how small, was adding weight to their collective strength. The old fears were transforming, becoming threads woven into a stronger fabric of community. They were more than a group of individuals, they were a unit ready to face whatever lay ahead. The intercom crackled again, causing the room to hush down. "All individuals must remain at the center for safety. Emergency services advise against leaving the building." A wave of apprehension cascaded through the crowd, but Anna stood up, taking a deep breath. "Everyone, we're here together. Let us take this time to get to know each other better. Who wants to share a story about what makes our community special?" Hands shot up, the tension replaced by curiosity and willingness to bond. Laughter and stories began to fill the air once again, punctuating the storm's fury outside. Amidst the gathering, Mark caught Claire's eye, a smile forming between them that spoke of shared understanding, of a moment where they weren't just facing a storm but transcending it through unity. But then, a chilling howl swept through the room, darker than before. The lights flickered and dimmed, leaving them in near darkness. Fear sparked again, creeping back into the corners of people's hearts. How long could they hold on? As the wind howled outside, Mark's heart raced. Was this really possible? Could they continue to find hope amid the chaos? Just as he started to doubt, he remembered Anna's words. Together, they might just weather the storm. But what if this test took an unexpected turn? What if their shelter was no longer safe? Mark couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that lingered in the shadows. Would they be able to face whatever came next? A sudden crash echoed from the far end of the community center, jolting everyone back to attention. Distant shouts surged through the howling wind outside, forcing the room into a suffocating silence. Mark's pulse quickened, a sense of dread pooling in his stomach. The shadows danced ominously, and for a moment, the warmth and connection built among them felt fragile and dangerously exposed. "What was that?" Claire whispered, her eyes wide with concern. "I don't know," Mark admitted, scanning the faces around him. Fear was replacing the courage they ignited just moments ago. He could feel it creeping in, tightening its grip on the room. Anna stepped forward boldly, her resolve unbroken. "Let us not panic. We're together, remember? Let us check it out calmly." As she spoke, Mark admired her composure, the way she drew strength from the uncertainty, as if she had dealt with storms before. They moved toward the sounds, inching their way through the flickering light that illuminated worried faces and interlocked hands. Mark kept the boy close, reassuring him with gentle pats on the back. They approached a makeshift barricade formed from folding chairs and tables that had been overturned in the rush. A loud bang shattered the stillness, and anxiety became tangible, rippling through them. What were they facing? The unknown lurked right beyond their makeshift fortress. Anna gathered everyone's gaze. "On three, we peek over the barricade. 1, 2, 3. They leaned forward, hearts racing. What lay ahead? In an instant, a gust of wind roared, blowing the doors wide open. Dust swirled in chaos, but it also ushered in a new sound. A flurry of laughter and cheers drifted in, mingling with the gales. Mark squinted through the door, his heart leaping as he caught sight of a small group racing toward them, clutching bright red kites. The kids. They're playing outside. He yelled, laughter breaking from his lips in surprise. Claire gasped, her face lighting up. How did you guys manage to get out there? One of the children, breathless with excitement, exclaimed, we made our own fun. The wind is perfect. In that chaotic moment, something shifted. Inside the community center, laughter rang out as others realized how beautiful it was to embrace the energy of the storm instead of fearing it. With Anna leading them, adults gathered around the doorway, watching the children reveling in the blustery joy. Mark pulled Claire close, sharing a smile that felt buoyant, their bond strengthening in the shared happiness. They all rose, ready to join the kids, to retreat from the dark anxiety that had clouded their minds just minutes before. Let us show them how it's done. He shouted. With newfound energy, they grabbed blankets, rushing toward the entrance. Suddenly, a strong gust knocked Mark off balance, and he stumbled but quickly regained his footing. Just outside, the world had transformed. The storm's fury was less daunting now, it was playful. Then chaos erupted. Heavy rain began to pour, slashing in sheets. Laughter turned to shrieks, and the children scrambled for shelter. Mark glanced around, they'd gone from facing defeat to embracing joy almost instantaneously. It was in these moments that he truly understood community. Just as they were celebrating this small victory, Anna's phone buzzed, its bright light stark against the darkening skies outside. She glanced down, brow furrowed. I think we need to gather everyone again, she said softly. It looks like the worst of the storm is coming. A hush fell over the group again, fear creeping back into their hearts. What lay ahead? Would they be able to keep their spirits high in the face of something truly terrifying? Mark could feel the tension bubbling underneath the surface, it left a weight on his chest. As everyone huddled together, prepared for the storm, Mark's mind raced with possibilities. Would the newfound hope be enough to carry them through? Could they hold on to each other when darkness truly descended? The wind gusted one last time as Mark felt determination rise within him. He turned to Anna. We'll face it together. No matter what. But, just then, a loud crash reverberated from somewhere behind the center, shaking the foundations of their makeshift home. The ground quaked. And answers faded into uncertainty. What had they unwittingly invited in with their joyful defiance? The air thickened with anxiety as the crash resounded again, sending a ripple of fear through the group. Mark exchanged glances with Claire, Anna, and even the children, their faces now painted with worry instead of joy. They were pulled from the light-hearted moments and thrust back into a reality that felt harsher, darker, and unforgiving. A tree, maybe? Claire suggested weakly, though her voice trembled. Mark wanted to believe that, but the way the community center rattled beneath the force of the storm told a different story. We need to regroup and stay close, Anna urged, already moving to gather everyone into a tighter circle. Stay alert. Whatever is happening, we're still here together. They formed a protective circle, the sound of rain pounding against the center's roof echoing like a war drum. Mark felt the weight of duty pressing down on him as he looked at the children's fearful faces. He cleared his throat, trying to inject confidence into his voice. Let us remember we've made it this far. We're going to take this one step at a time. But just as he spoke, another crash echoed nearby. It was closer this time. Panic surged through him like an electric shock, prompting a wave of murmured fears and whispers among the group. Anna stepped slightly out of the circle, raising her phone to the window. The weather app isn't predicting anything severe, but there must be some local warning. Her eyes darted, gauging the shifting storm. Mark moved closer to her, the rain so loud it sounded like a stampede. No. We can't think like that. We have to trust that we can handle this. Before he could finish his thought, a shadow loomed outside the window, a silhouette barely discernible against the sheets of rain. Mark's heart raced as he squinted. What was that? The crowd held their breath, a collective intake of air. It's just the storm. Someone said, but the fear laced in the tone betrayed their uncertainty. No. Mark asserted. Let us check it out. Stay together. The thought of retreating back further into the chaos didn't sit well with him. They needed to confront whatever this was or risk being swept away by their own fears. They cautiously edged toward the window, Anna leading the way, her determined expression giving them all strength. As they peered outside, rain streaked the glass, blurring their vision, but suddenly, a flash of lightning illuminated the dark. For just a heartbeat, they caught a glimpse of what loomed a massive tree branch had crashed down, blocking the entrance to the center. Oh, Claire gasped, a mix of relief and worry flooding her voice. It's just a branch. But it looks unstable, it might fall over entirely. First the door, now this, Mark muttered, frustration leaking into his words. We can't let fear shut us down. We'll need a plan, Anna replied, rallying everyone closer. Some of us can start looking for supplies, while the others keep watch. Outside, the storm raged on, but Mark felt a surge of resolve flow through the group. They could adapt, they could improvise. Together, they could handle anything, storm or branches. As they bounced ideas back and forth, he suddenly noticed a little girl, one of the kids who had been so full of life just minutes ago, now standing still, staring wide-eyed out the window. What's wrong? He asked, crouching down to her level. It's dark, like the shadows are moving, she whispered, trembling slightly. Mark's heart twisted. Shadows. They were everywhere, creeping back in, threatening to swallow their light. He glanced at Anna, whose expression mirrored his sentiment. They had to keep that spark of defiance alive, even against unseen threats. It's okay, he assured her, offering a comforting hand. We're safe here together. Let the storm rage. We won't let it take our joy. But just as he spoke, another jarring crash echoed through the center, stronger than before, rattling the walls. The fierce howl of wind howled outside, and in its clutches, Mark felt a new fear twist in his gut. What if their togetherness wasn't enough? As they all leaned into one another, a new question loomed. Overhead, could they truly withstand whatever came next, or would the storm steal away their resolve? The shadows danced around them, whispering old fears. If the storm continued to draw closer, would they find the strength in each other to face the darkness threatening to engulf them? Mark felt the temperature drop within the room as another crash outside sent ripples of panic through the group. The children huddled closer, eyes wide with fear. Stay together. Stay close. He shouted, his own heart racing, but Anna's reassuring presence kept the group grounded. Remember why we're here, Anna called out over the rising wind. We're a community. We've already faced so much together. The words resonated, sparking a glimmer of hope that pooled in their hearts, but Mark could sense the unease simmering amongst them. He stepped forward, his voice shaking slightly, yet resolute. The storm is loud, it's chaotic, but that only proves our strength. Together we can't only withstand it, we can rise above it. As he spoke, he felt that flicker of confidence spark anew. In that moment, the shadows behind them seemed to retreat, and people began to nod, sharing looks of determination. If we go down together, Claire whispered. And we support each other. Exactly. Anna affirmed, and with a steely gaze, she swept her arm out, rallying faces around her. Let us create our own light. Mark's heart swelled as he witnessed the unity that blossomed around them. Everyone, let us gather supplies and strengthen our barricades. We'll keep our hearts open, and focus on what we can do right now. Hands shifted, people began packing surpluses into bags, securing flashlights, blankets, and food supplies, pulling together loose equipment from the community center. More volunteers stepped up than he could have imagined, breaking into smaller groups to ensure every corner of their space was prepared. As they worked, laughter bubbled up, mixing with the adrenaline. Someone started a chant, echoing through the hallways, reminding them they weren't just surviving the storm, they were overcoming it. Together. 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 They called out. Mark felt the energy growing, transforming the fear into something tangible. It wasn't just about waiting for the storm to pass, they were going to embrace it with counterattacks of laughter, creativity, and community. Then, a child tugged on his arm. "Mr. Mark, can we make a game?" That helped the scary away. A smile broke on Mark's face, and he nodded. "Absolutely. Let's do this." He quickly rounded up some chairs and tapped into Anna's creative spirit. "Let's play a game called Resilience where we build a tower with these cushions. Whoever stands the tallest in laughter, wins." Laughter erupted, kids leaping into action, rearranging cushions like they were constructing a fortress against the storm. A few adults, inspired, got involved in a playful distraction too. Amid the chaos, they were creating something that brought them together, layered over their fears. Mark watched as Anna jumped into action, her infectious smile spreading like wildflowers in spring. But outside, the howling wind intensified, and another crash flared outside, sending a shiver through Mark's spine. He quickly tailored the game to include safety reminders. If a storm branch flies where we don't want, we dive and protect our heads. Ready? 1, 2, 3. They all dove, laughter mixing with gasps. As the storm raged on, creating turbulence above, the center felt alive, pulsing with companionship. And in that whirlwind of energy, Mark's heart swelled. That emptiness inside him had transformed into something solid, filled with gratitude and purpose. Gradually, the children's faces lit with excitement, and adults began trading their fears and worries for stories of hope and kindness shared within these halls, reaffirming that community spirit was alive and powerful, even in a storm. But just as they thought they had turned the tide, the doors crashed open again as wind whipped through, tears of rain spilling into their sacred space. They all stumbled back for a moment, fear creeping back due to uncontrollable circumstances. "Stay steady," Mark called out, stepping forward with Anna. "This is just another test." "Now's our chance," Anna replied, grabbing a flashlight. "Let us illuminate our space together." She moved quickly, lighting the lanterns and floodlights that had been strategically placed around. Mark saw as fear melted away into a genuine thrill. They worked in harmony, filling the room with soft golden light, illuminating both their warmth and the love they had for each other. Finally, people began to stand tall against whatever challenge awaited them outside. Those little sparks combined into a radiant glow, unyielding against darkness. The energy enveloped them, solidifying bonds that had started to form weeks ago, winds of camaraderie swirling around every voice, every treasure lifted. Mark looked around, letting the laughter and joy wash over him, and in that instant, he felt alive, embraced by something much bigger than himself. This was his family. Stepping forward again with newfound resilience, he proclaimed, "Let us finish this game. Who wants to keep going?" Perhaps this storm would test them, but they had grown, not just as individuals but as a community. They would stand together, hands clasped, eyes bright with hope. And in that moment, they lit up the storm, reflecting their strength back at it. They had turned from fear to joy, shadows to light. No matter what lay ahead, they were ready to face it together. The storms of life would come and go, but together, they had woven an unbreakable bond, becoming more than just neighbors, they had become family. And with that realization echoing in the bright smiles around him, Mark felt an exhilarating hope pulse through his veins. They had conquered the storm, but something told him that new adventures awaited them. Together. So to the audience, if you felt this journey, this transformation, you need to subscribe right now. This is the moment to show your support and never miss an exclusive story. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this incredible journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support keeps this community alive and thriving.